It wasn't a blue wave, it was a blue tsunami. That's what many election experts and pundits are saying right now, just hours after Democrats completed a clean sweep in nearly every single election across America. And what is a complete repudiation of this president, this White House, and his agenda. It is a stunning result, and many are now saying that the results from last night are better for Democrats than in 2018. Last night's results were some of the best results for Democrats in over a decade. And when you look at the margins, which I did, I spent all night combing through the margins, through the data, talking to folks on the ground. When you look at the margins, it becomes clear that Democrats won and won big. And I want to walk through these margins with you because it's important to see how much of a repudiation last night's results really were. But before I do, our election night coverage reached over 10 million people. We are redefining media in real time. So please consider supporting my work by subscribing today or sending a one-time donation via Venmo to Aaron-Parnas. Let's start in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Democrats ousted every single Republican from two critical school boards. Bucks County is a toss-up district, a swing county. The Central Bucks and Penridge school boards, both districts that were ground zero for the conservative and anti-LGBTQ plus school board movement in 2021, just 4 years ago, every Republican was ousted. Let's move on down to Virginia. Abigail Spanberger won the governor's race. That was not a surprise, but polling had her winning at 8 or 9 points. Last night, she won by over 14 points. And when all votes are counted, it'll likely be more than 15 points. That is the largest margin for a Democratic nominee running for governor in the state of Virginia since 1961, 80 years ago. Let's move on up to New Jersey. Mikey Sherrill was elected governor, defeating Jack Ciattarelli by a 13-point margin. Polling had her winning by 3 or 4 points. She overperformed polling averages by nearly 10 points. Heading on south to Florida. In Orlando, Florida, Tom Keene, the Democrat, won a blowout victory for the city commission in Orlando, unseating the only Republican commissioner on the Orlando City Commission. A 13-year incumbent lost to a Democrat, and it wasn't a close race. Heading on up to Georgia. In Morgan County, Georgia, Democrats flipped that county from R plus 47 just last year to D plus 3 this year. A 50-point swing in just 1 year in favor of Democrats. And looking statewide, Public Service Commission races, Democrats flipped both seats, currently leading by over 20 points after most votes have been counted. 20 points in a state like Georgia, a state that's decided by a few points usually. Heading on west in California, Proposition 50 is now likely to pass by a bigger margin than Kamala Harris's 20-point statewide margin by a significant amount. Voters in California came out. This was a symbolic vote in a number of ways because the only thing that was on the ballot was Prop 50. And Prop 50 passed by such a large margin that it was called literally the minute polls closed. Heading back to Virginia. In Virginia's House of Delegates, Democrats gained control with 61 seats, likely increasing up to 64 seats throughout the day. That's up from 51 seats, just 3 short of a supermajority in the House of Delegates. Governor-elect Spanberger will be coming in to office with a Democratic majority in the House, a Democratic majority in the Senate, an attorney general that's Democratic, a lieutenant governor that's a Democrat, a complete and total sweep in Virginia, and it wasn't even close. In Cincinnati, Ohio, Democrats retained full control of city government, winning the mayor's race and all 9 council seats, despite Republican criticism and significant local controversies that many thought would lead to Democrats losing throughout Cincinnati in local races. And that mayoral race, remember, the Democratic incumbent beat none other than J.D. Vance's, the vice president of the United States' brother, half-brother. In Maine, voters approved a new red flag gun law, making Maine the 22nd state with an extreme risk protection measure that allows family members to petition courts to temporarily remove firearms from individuals deemed dangerous. The law replaces Maine's existing yellow flag law by removing the requirement for a behavioral health assessment and allowing families, not just law enforcement, to initiate petitions. In Colorado, voters approved a ballot measure to raise state income taxes on households earning $300,000 or more per year to fully fund free meals for all public school students in the state of Colorado. The measure will expand the Healthy School Meals for All program, which previously provided free meals only to low income students and schools after it was initially approved in 2022. The final margins: Spanberger plus 15, Ghazala Hashmi, the LG, the lieutenant governor in Virginia, plus 11, Mikey Sherrill plus 13, Jay Jones, the embattled Democratic candidate for attorney general in Virginia, who had that major scandal over text messages, won by over 6 points. Zohran Mamdani in New York won by over 8 points. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court was retained by over 20 points. And California's Prop 50 will pass when all votes are final by over 30 points. That is not a win. That is a complete and utter rebuke of everything that this White House stands for. And when you look at exit polling results throughout the country, Donald Trump may not have been on the ballot by name, but he was on the ballot in many states because a lot of voters came out to vote against him. They were upset at the direction of the nation. And well, candidates like Winsome Sears and Jack Ciattarelli embraced Donald Trump. Even Andrew Cuomo embraced Donald Trump in New York City. The voters had a message, sent a message to folks across the country and said that this is not the country that we want. And Donald Trump issued a short response to the election results, blaming the loss on the fact that he was not on the ballot. And while that's true, his name wasn't on the ballot, his policies were. And many voters, based on exit polling, came out to vote against him. A stunning rebuke of Donald Trump as we enter the longest government shutdown in American history. We are officially in day 36 of a government shutdown. Donald Trump previously had the record for the longest government shutdown at 35 days. Now we have entered day 36, which means he has now had this longest government shutdown in both terms. And today, the United States Supreme Court is going to hear oral argument over a case that could define his entire term, whether or not the tariffs he has imposed are lawful, are constitutional, whether or not he has the power to impose such tariffs. The Supreme Court will make a decision likely over the next several months, potentially as soon as at the end of the year. This is a case that Donald Trump is watching closely, a case that Republicans in Congress are watching extremely closely, and a case that could define Donald Trump's legacy and his entire second term. I will have updates for you throughout the day, especially as we hear more in the Supreme Court case. I'm going to be listening to oral arguments live. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to support my work. And I'm going to have more updates soon for you. So stay tuned for more.